Students and faculty rally on campus for stronger COVID protocols, and the Oklahoma City Thunder announced new COVID policies for their games. Plus, it's sneezing season. Find out what allergies might be kicking in and making you feel sick. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Kayla Davis.
And I'm Tingelstad. We begin tonight with the second day of action by OU students and faculty. Faculty, students, and some parents gathered on campus in front of the president's office today, all of them concerned about action surrounding COVID on campus. OU Nightly's Will Blessing was at the rally earlier today and joins us now live. Will?
Yes, I was at the rally today. The general sentiment, people are tired, especially after they say a university professor died from COVID-19.
OU, put your money where your mouth is.
Outside Evans Hall, where University of Oklahoma students and faculty say they are at their limit as they stand protesting for better handling of the COVID-19 pandemic.
I've been kind of just shocked by the lack of a response for the pandemic by the university. I think the lack of action kind of undermines the impact that such a large university in such a small town has.
There's a lot of people from different backgrounds here who have all been going through the collective trauma of experiencing what has been like experiencing literally a pandemic.
The protest comes as the second day of what is being called OU Days of Action. Those organizing the protest say there has been a lack of common sense policies regarding the pandemic and that the cost of the university's inaction is great. Protesters were also at the Board of Regents meeting Monday, where leaders read an open letter to the board calling for action, and OU President Harris also talked about the COVID-19 issue.
It breaks my heart to see the way that faculty, students, and staff at the University of Oklahoma are left to our own devices. We're betrayed and abandoned by the leadership of this state.
No risk still attends to it. And the question is, how do we manage it in a way that embraces both sides? Both the mission we have and the students that we know need to have this experience to move forward in their lives, and how do we make it as safe as possible? And the answers are imperfect, but it's always an effort to do better and get that balance right.
However, not everyone here agrees with what the protest is about.
Let there be a choice. No mandates, and mandates definitely should not be instigated and mandated by a teachers' union imposed on students.
As the second days of OU Days of Action wraps up, everyone will have to wait for any action from the university. Reporting live, Will Blessing, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Will. While some in the OU community felt that the days of action would bring attention to the masking problem, others feel missing a day of class isn't the answer. The South Oval has continued to be packed with staff and students heading to their classes despite the call to not go. Some only learning about the day of action once a professor emailed them canceling class. And we're left questioning how effective the protest really is.
I feel like it was not effective for the student body. And if anything, it penalized us for people like me who had a test I have a test tomorrow and I didn't get the test review, so.
The university's COVID policies remain unchanged despite the protests.
Some good news when it comes to COVID. The state has seen a significant drop in the number of new cases today. The Oklahoma State Department of Health reports 484 new cases today, bringing the total number of active cases to just more than 16,000. New cases had been averaging around 2,000 a day. 9,892 Oklahomans have lost their lives due to COVID. Right now, 46% of Oklahomans are fully vaccinated.
And a little bit of fall in the air today.
The question is, how long will it stay like this?
Yeah, guys, we are really feeling those northerly winds today. You can see how strong they are, almost 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts coming from the north across the state, and temperatures around 15 degrees cooler than yesterday. Yesterday, we were in the high 90s. Now we're sitting in the low 80s, so it's feeling absolutely wonderful out there. Even seeing some 70s in the Panhandle, feeling those cooler fall-like temperatures. But coming up, I'll have more on how long those will stick around, when we'll start to see temperatures warming back up, and a look at your state fair forecast, guys.
Thanks, Hannah. Another milestone in the Julius Jones case, his execution date is now set for November 14th. Jones will have a clemency hearing at least 3 weeks before his execution. Last week, the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board voted for Jones' sentence to be commuted from a death penalty to life in prison with possibility of parole. Now the decision is up to Governor Kevin Stitt to change Jones' sentence or leave him on death row.
And we have breaking news concerning the suspicious death of 22-year-old Gabby Petito. Dylan Rivera has the latest from the News Center.
Breaking just moments ago, the FBI says the remains found Sunday in Wyoming are Gabby Petito's. The autopsy reports confirmed the remains are Petito's and the cause of death is still pending. Petito disappeared on a camping trip with her fiancé Brian Laundrie. Petito was reported missing on September 11 and her death has been ruled a homicide. Laundrie is a person of interest. Today, President Biden speaking in front of the UN General Assembly for the first time, covering a wide range of topics. The president discussed the coronavirus pandemic, the recently ended war in Afghanistan, and climate change. The major omission from his speech, the submarine deal between France, Britain, and Australia. This comes while France feels they were ignored by their allies. Biden, set to call the French president in the coming days, did say they will work through any global issues in a civil and diplomatic way. And around midnight last night, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau won his third term. The election was only announced just 37 days ago in a decision by Trudeau to hold a snap federal election. This decision came in hopes of winning a parliamentary majority, something Trudeau hasn't had since 2019. However, Trudeau's Liberal Party failed to win enough seats for his move to be successful. Trudeau says his re-election is a mandate by Canadian citizens to lead them through the pandemic. And finally, last night, a couple was asked to leave a Texas restaurant for wearing a mask inside. The Sports Grill and Bar has a strict no-mask policy and eventually asked the patrons to leave. Kayla?
Thanks, Dylan. A new tradition for OU Air Force ROTC. Up next, we will tell you why students are running around campus with flags.
Plus, big changes coming to Thunder games this year. Find out what you'll have to do to go to a game.
COVID-19 continues to devastate the United States and is breaking death toll records from previous pandemics. Kaitlyn Deggs has this story and more in today's Health Beat.
Kayla, the U.S. has hit another COVID-19 milestone. The number of deaths from the virus has now passed the number of deaths from the deadliest pandemic in the 20th century. The 1918 Spanish flu pandemic claimed an estimated 675,000 lives in America. The number of deaths from COVID passed this number on Monday. And for people who got the one-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine, the company says that 2 doses might be better than 1. Johnson & Johnson says that a 2-dose version of its COVID vaccine is 94% effective. This makes the 2 doses of the Janssen vaccine comparable to 2 doses of Pfizer or Moderna. The shot has already been administered to nearly 15 million Americans as a single dose. A separate study shows that a booster shot of Johnson & Johnson given at least 6 months after the first dose provides more immunity than only receiving 1 dose. After more than 1 year, the U.S. will lift travel restrictions for foreign visitors. Starting in November, fully vaccinated travelers will be able to fly to the U.S. Travelers will be required to show proof of their vaccination status, but they will not have to quarantine when they get here. Europe opened its borders to Americans in June, but last month closed them again and removed the U.S. from their safe list of countries. And data from Pfizer shows that its vaccine is safe for children ages 5 to 11. The company plans to submit the data to the FDA for authorization as soon as possible. Medical experts say if the shot is granted emergency authorization, it could be available for children in this age range by Halloween. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kaitlyn. You might have seen a group of students running flags around campus last Friday. OU Air Force ROTC has a new tradition, a memorial run for prisoners of war and those missing in action. OU Nightly's Logan Morrow spoke with cadets from Detachment 675 about this event. If you are experiencing bad allergies, you might be able to find out how to take care of your symptoms when we return.
And Hannah, Gard, what will you be telling us about this cooler weather?
Well, guys, those beautiful fall temperatures earlier might stick around for just a bit longer, but I'll have more on the forecast after the break. Welcome back to OU Nightly. We've had absolutely amazing fall weather today. You can see how much cooler it is across the region. We're around 15 degrees cooler here in Norman, and that's due to those strong northerly winds behind the cold front that we saw move through yesterday. It's pretty gusty out there. We're around 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and it's really feeling dry too. You can see how low those dew points are for Oklahoma. This is very, very rare, and that's giving us some elevated fire danger in parts of southwestern Oklahoma and North Texas. We will see that today. But as we look at that cold front moving through yesterday, if you see this green line, that's actually monarch butterflies. They were riding the wave of that cold front as it moved across Oklahoma. And now it's making its way into Arkansas and Mississippi, creating some severe weather down there. But for us, leaving us high and dry. And that cooler weather came down from the north with this air mass. It will continue to move off to the east into the end of this week. And you can see this ridge of high pressure building that will return those warmer temperatures to us by the end of the week. So if you do like the fall, it's not going to last very long, but it will give us beautiful weather for the state fair. If you're looking to head out there, the next 2 days will probably be the best day to do that. We're looking at mid-80s by Thursday. Then Friday and Saturday, we'll start to see those warmer temperatures returning as we head back into the 90s. But right now, not a cloud in the sky. We're in the high 70s, gusty northerly winds, temperatures in the 70s and 80s across the board. Tonight, look how cool. Some areas seeing 40s, 50s across the board, and we're seeing cool temperatures waking up here in Norman tomorrow. Mid-70s. By around tomorrow evening, it's going to feel like another cool fall day. For tomorrow, our high will be in the high 70s. Once again, we'll be in the 80s by Thursday. After that, we'll finally warm back up into the 90s, but definitely not feeling as bad for the game on Saturday. We'll be in the 90s instead of the high 90s, and we'll just moderate out after that, guys.
Thanks, Hannah. An allergy alert for weeds like ragweed is at a high range for the next couple of days. Ragweed is the fall pollen that triggers many issues for some people. If you feel like you have exhausted the over-the-counter shelf with allergy medicine or nasal sprays, getting evaluated by an allergist could be the next step.
So the allergist can help prescribe a few other options, but then there's something called immunotherapy or allergy shots, which really can make a significant difference for those that are suffering with their allergies.
To contact an allergist for daily allergy reports, visit oklahomaallergy.com. Now back to the story we tried to bring to you earlier.
OU Air Force ROTC has a new tradition, a memorial run for prisoners of war and those missing in action. OU Nightly's Logan Morrow has the story.
From 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., these flags never stop moving.
We are out here today to have a celebration of service for those who have served and potentially paid the ultimate sacrifice. 82,000 Americans have still not come home from different wars and conflicts over the last few years.
We do it at OU to help us to remember that, but also to kind of bring about that idea in the minds of our community.
This tradition is new to Detachment 675, but memorial runs are not unfamiliar to the Air Force.
For me, it's one of the reasons why
I want to apologize again for that stopping.
Prisoners of war and those missing in action are never forgotten, and the cadets hope this event will continue for years to come. And OU is playing a Big 12 opponent this weekend for the first time since 2019. Carly, can you tell us who we can expect to see at the Palace on the Prairie?
That's right, ladies. West Virginia is coming down from Morgantown to play the Sooners at the Palace in prime time. And an NFL star had a huge night with a heavy heart. A great story is next in sports. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Carly Murray, and it's time for sports. We begin today with OU football taking on the Mountaineers for the first time since 2019. Oklahoma did not play West Virginia in 2020 due to COVID. West Virginia is coming off a big win against Virginia Tech last weekend, and head coach Lincoln Riley is looking forward to hosting the Mountaineers in the Palace.
So this is the one game that we missed last year as far as playing in the conference. It'll be good to get a chance to compete against these guys. They're playing at a very high level. Obviously had a huge win last weekend against a very good Virginia Tech team.
Here's some Sooner sports to watch this week. OU soccer is traveling down to Lubbock, Texas to play Texas Tech on Thursday at 7 p.m. Women's tennis is playing here in Norman on Friday. OU volleyball is playing West Virginia in Morgantown on Friday at 5 p.m. and women's tennis is playing again on Saturday. The Oklahoma City Thunder will require fans to provide proof of a full vaccination, half vaccination, or negative COVID test. The negative COVID test must be taken up to 72 hours before the game. Masks are not required, but they are encouraged. The new game policy will remain in effect for at least the first 12 preseason games. NBA vet J.J. Redick retires after a 15-year career. Redick says it's time to be a dad. It's time for him to reflect, to pause, and get ready for the next phase of his life. Redick was selected with the 11th pick by the Orlando Magic in the 2006 draft. Over the course of his career, he played for 6 NBA teams. Philadelphia 76ers All-Star forward Ben Simmons will not report to training camp, and he intends to never play for the franchise again. Simmons wants out of Philly and told management he won't wear an NBA uniform until he is traded. The Sixers have discussed trades throughout the league, but were disappointed with offers. Simmons has 4 years and $147 million left on his contract, including $33 million for the 2021-2022 season. And baseball fans of a certain age will always remember the Aaron brothers as Hall of Famer Hank and his brother Tommy. But now the Green Bay Packers have Aaron brothers of their own, Rodgers and Jones. Last night on Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers completed 22 of 27 of his passes, threw for 255 yards, and is now 10th all-time in passing yards. And Aaron Jones caught 3 of those TD passes and rushed for a 4th score. Jones also had some extra motivation as his father passed away last spring.
He was really on my heart. I actually have a chain with a football and his ashes are in it. I scored and it fell off in the end zone, so I'll go look for it, but I know he's happy. He'd be happy. He was like, if you lose it anywhere, lose in the end zones. I think he'd be very proud of me, tell me continue to work. This is only the beginning. Continue to stack success and be humble but be proud.
Our play of the day comes from Miami Marlins rookie outfielder Sanchez making a barehanded catch in foul territory. Nationals' Lane Thomas sent a high fly ball to right field. Sanchez overran it, adjusted himself, and shows off some impressive hand-eye coordination. Might not be as good as Sooner DJ Graham's catch on Saturday, but it's pretty close, right, ladies?
Yeah, that definitely was a good play Saturday.
It was.
Well, a green thumb can take your landscaping a long way.
But can it take you all the way to college? Find out when we return.
I'm Son Weber at the OU Nightly Update Desk. The search for Brian Laundrie carries on in Northport, Florida, with drone operators getting involved while searching in the Carlton Reserve. Laundrie is a person of interest in the homicide of his fiancée, Gabby Petito, whose body was found this past Sunday. The investigation has resumed and the autopsy results confirmed that the remains are Petito's. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Stone. Pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin scented candles, and pumpkin funded college tuitions.
A 13-year-old boy is growing and selling pumpkins. In a weekend, Boston bet can make up to $1,000.
And unlike most teens, this Kansas kid is saving up for college. Beck hopes to attend our Sooner rival Kansas State in the future and become a veterinarian.
And Hannah, am I getting ahead of myself, or can I take my fall clothes out of storage?
Oh, you definitely could for at least tomorrow, and you could get a pumpkin spice as well. It's still going to be in the 70s. We're almost touching 80s. Then after that, though, it will start to heat up again. It's still going to be nice on Thursday, but by Friday, we're looking at 90s in the forecast, and you can see there's not really any rain chances. We're just looking at those temperatures warming up once again as we head into the end of the week. Back to y'all.
Thanks, Hannah, and thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication on the campus of the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you right back here tomorrow live at 4:30. Good night.